being truthful, I feel like as collectors, we always want to find ourselves with more than we know how to find room for. Sometimes you have those months where you don't get as much and you're like, oh, thank God. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another book haul this time for November of 2024. I am struggling a little bit with the voice today. It's a thing in Houston where it's hot one day and it's cold the next, or even better, it does both in the same day. So that messes with my voice a little bit. It's a little sniffly, so I apologize. My voice is cracky. And we got more cuts in this video than usual because I'm sneezing so dang much. But some nice new additions to the home library. A little bit of a lighter month, but I'm always okay with that just for the lack of space in here. But as always, I am thankful so much with the things that I did get sent this month. We're going to kind of talk about those and begin by talking about some digital purchases because what do I always tell you guys? They do count on your favorite e-reading device. I have started using the Kindle Colorsoft. So here we go. I did pick up a new book in the Rhaenyra series. Now, this is called ℓ𝕤𝕤𝕤 by Michael J. Saul. This is the fifth book in the Rhaenyra Chronicles. This is the Royce and Hadrian prequel series. I am going to be starting Crown Tower in probably the first quarter or so, I think, of 2025. So I'll finally be getting into that because I tried Legends of the First Empire. It was fine. I just missed Royce and Hadrian. And I'm thinking going back and getting the prequel series about how these two hooked up is going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a 6-book series. And book number 5 did just came out. So I go ahead and pick that up before I try to start digging into getting all those on physical here. Next up, one that I talked about in new series I'd like to start in 2025. That was Kagan of the Damned by Jonathan Mayberry. This is Son of the Poison Rose and Dragon of Winter. I already had book 1. So I had picked up book 2 and 3 just in case I really do like it and I want to roll through that entire trilogy. That's one of those where I assumed with a name like The Damned that it was a vampire series, but it turns out it's just a dark adult fantasy series. Apparently it's got all the trigger warnings on it too, so that sounds like a series for me, because apparently there's been a lot of people, there's people I know that are into grimdark that were like, man, it was too much for me, and I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. So excited to try that out. Still don't know if I'm saying his name is Mayberry or Mayberry or what, I grew up watching Andy Griffith after Braves games. It's just how it happens sometimes. And then when I was talking about new series I wanted to start next year, I talked about finally starting Alex Verus, and what I did not realize is that there's been a 12th book, and I think that is the final book that has come out since I first started collecting those, and that is Risen, the final book in the Alex Verus series by Mr. Benedict Jacka. So I'll be starting that series here rather early, I think, as well. That's going to kind of be my, I don't want to say my Dresden Files replacement, but kind of my stand-in for Dresden Files until it does actually resume getting new Dresden Files books. And what that is, it's just, it's supposed to feel almost like the English Harry Dresden. That's kind of what I got out of it. He's a little bit more of a seer, like he can see things. Basically like John Smith from Dead Zone. He can like touch things and see what's going to happen in the future and decide if he wants to act upon them and change them or not. That's what I've kind of heard of it, but it gets a lot of comparison since he's very much a magician who's out in the open in the modern world and lets people know, hey, yeah, I can do this. So, if you aren't getting the answers you want from the police, hit me up and I will help you out. And that's always a formula with urban fantasy that I find myself being involved with. As for some physical purchases, I only got one this month. And look, it's very painful for me to do this, guys. Very, very painful because I hate giving Brian Herbert my money. I've been very, very open about this. Everybody's asking me why you aren't watching Dune Prophecy, Mike, because I feel like it's based a lot on Brian Herbert's works, which I do not consider canon. I don't care what you say. To me, it's like Disney Star Wars. I don't consider it canon. And again, it's fine. It's fine if you do. That's one of the things. But I did pick up the final graphic novel adaptation of Dune. This is Prophet. And it's one of those where I think it's been really well done. It has been very well done. And I feel like this is one of those I have the hopes of eventually is when my kid is ready to read this, then maybe they'll pick this up because I feel like this might be a little easy for them than the actual novel is. But, my oldest really, really enjoyed the movies, and he's interested enough that maybe this can be the introduction to the world that I need to get him to do. I don't feel like it needed to be separate into 3. I understood why they do it. They're trying to capitalize off of the popularity of Dune at the moment, but I am glad that they did kind of take their time to tell all 3 parts of Dune slowly and fully in this collection here. So again, I hate giving Brian Herbert my money, but at this point it'd be kind of like saying you don't want to give Tolkien's shitty grandchildren money for Rings of Power. You know, it's just one of those things where like you're always going to love Lord of the Rings, and you know who cares where the money's going? You want to get the stuff, and that's just kind of how it happens. I'm not above that. I'm not to that level of protest, you know, with some of these things. So I'm glad I got this completed now because in the end, guys, I love Dune. I love that world, and I love the stuff that Frank wrote. And if it means having to reward his kid a little bit with that, well, hey, you know, sometimes you just don't get to pick family, you know, but I don't want to make this that personal. That's just how I feel about it. Now that this is off to a snarky start, let's go ahead and talk about some things I got from some authors this month. Some wonderful, wonderful authors did send me some stuff. And some of them I've actually had on the channel. First one being MJ Kuhn. She did send me her book, Among Thieves here, and a really, really nice letter. And she has incredible handwriting. I'm going to show you guys this handwriting. How great is her handwriting? You must have paid attention in school, MJ, because your handwriting is very good. Here's the thing, is like I had no idea how bad my handwriting was until recently. I was writing something by hand. I was like, wow, you know, I don't really write at all in the workplace anymore. Everything is digital. Anytime I need to take notes, I just use Notepad on my phone or whatever. So anyway, I admire good handwriting now when I see it. So if you don't practice, you know, it's kind of like losing your jump shot. But with this, MJ had her on the channel recently with Adrian, part of SFF Podcast. SFF Addicts Podcast. I always want to do that. But awesome, awesome person. And this sounds very, very exciting. And I know it's going to be a great read because she is an awesome conversationalist. And I'm sure she's a great writer as well. This is the hero interviews from the brain of Andy Ewington. Don't know a ton about it, but that is a really, really cool cover. And what these guys, like I always tell you, is drop in the down in the description. And I'm going to put a link to each one of these if you want to check them out on your own. Thank you, Andy. I do appreciate that. This one is called The Charcoal Planet. This is by DJ Van Zant. I'm just going to open this one up because I don't know if this is... No, it's a novel. I thought I wasn't sure if it was a graphic novel or not. It does have some pictures, some artwork here at the end. But very cool. Very, very cool cover. I like that a lot. This one is an arc from my favorite Harkonnen, as I like to call him. Richard did actually email me and say, hey, I know that you were really, really shitty about the end of my last series. So you want my new one? That's not quite how it happened. But I was very vocal in saying that I thought that the Empire of the Wolf kind of went in a direction that I wasn't crazy about. I admired Richard for going for it, though, and thankfully that didn't get me off his list, or didn't get me on his shit list to not send me any more books. But he did send me the first book in his new series, which is Grave Empire, which this is a banger of a cover. How awesome is that? It very much makes me think back to Empire of the Vampire, the UK edition by Jay Kristoff. This is a really cool cover, and this is one of those. It's like, yo, this would be a cover read. This is one of those you got a cover that's that good, you'll probably check it out. But I don't know. I know it's a new fantasy series. Don't know quite how eldritch or horror he does dive into this one, but I'm excited to check out a book because I think back to Justice of Kings, and that was one of my favorite books that I read that year. So Richard, awesome guy. Like I said, I joke with, we bust each other's balls all the time. It's how you know you like each other. And I'm excited to read his new series, even if Empire of the Wolf kind of went in directions I didn't like. It was nothing wrong with his writing. It was just like kind of storyline decisions that were made. I think he's a wonderful writer. And like I said, he's an automatic read at this point. And that comes out in February. So I'll probably try to get it in there, I don't know, God, early in 2025, because right now everything just hinges on how long it takes me to complete When in Truth by Brandon Sanderson. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Last one, another author that I have had on the channel here, and this, I say this a lot, this might be the most beautiful book I own. I think Christopher heard that and said, well, I'm gonna get you here. This is the Diamond Edition of Empire of Silence. It was part of the Kickstarter that I had Christopher on the channel when he launched it and kind of talked about all the tier levels and all that stuff, and it sold out in like minutes. And there was some printing problems and things took a little slower to get here, but when they got here, man, they were worth the wait. So this clamshell here is just so rad. I can't even get over this. And look, it's even got a signature. How cool is that? This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm just going to let you guys look because this is insane. I can't believe how beautiful this collection is. Here's Valka. We got all kinds of art, bookmarks, all kinds of stuff in here. I can kind of go through it all. I just don't want to drop this. So got that as your nice little case there. Just wonderful, wonderful stuff. The actual book itself isn't too shabby either. That looks like Drew Struzan, old Star Wars posters, don't it? They wrap around. How wonderful is that? I gotta show you guys this because I'm very proud of it. This right here, me. I didn't draw it. I commissioned it. Someone actually paid Christopher for that tier and said that since I introduced them to the series, they wanted me to come up with the art they drew there. And this is what I picked and worked with the artist through the sketches and all that stuff. And kind of, I'm no Petrick. Petrick is amazing at this, but for me, this is an accomplishment because I never get to do stuff like this because I don't know how to do it. So I described a scene that I wanted to see depicted, and it got here on the flap. Very cool. But yeah, it's just, look at this, man. This is like broken binding level amazing. This is, wow. Yeah. Yeah, so cool. So again, I always say, that's the most beautiful book I own. This might be it. This might be it. It is definitely up there. The artwork is incredible. So this is one of those that, like, I know that Christopher did this originally because, you know, there weren't enough people that could get Empire of Silence on hardcover. And I think that what he actually didn't intend to happen was for it now to be something else that people can't get. You know, so that's just what happens with some of these special editions. Is just sometimes you can't get them anymore, and it's a bummer. It really is a bummer. But I'm glad that Christopher's having so much success. He was actually messaging me today that he's at Dragonsteel and he's having so much luck there with people with interest in his series and things like that. And again, making me further regret that I did not go because I was one with those things with those conventions. I'm always like, ain't nobody gonna know who I am, and then everybody's asking where I'm at, you know. So I'm sad that I didn't get to go to Dragonsteel, but I'm glad that Christopher wanted to have success there, and that this Diamond edition was such a resounding success, and that he sent me one. It's just wow, absolutely worth the wait, and just a beautiful, beautiful edition. And I hope you guys were able to procure one because it's just stunning. So much so that I don't mind having 3 versions of Sun Eater on my shelf now. There's no other author that I would do that for except maybe Frank Herbert and you, Christopher. So thank you again for saying this. It's just wonderful. So how about some things from some publishers? I did receive some awesome books from Baen. I'm going to kind of go through those quickly here. This is Through the Storm by John Ringo and is it Linda Schreier? Sure, Lydia, not Linda. Lydia. Depth Charge. This is by a collection of authors. Baen has such awesome artists, I think, on their payroll. I don't know if these are... I don't know how that works. I don't pretend I understand. Do they have them in-house? Do these authors have them individually? I don't really know how that works, but they have great ones. This is M.A. Rothman and D.J. Butler. This is Ice Trials Book 2. I've talked to D.J. when I was on Christopher's channel one time. Great dude. This is another collection of authors. 1919, The Romanov Rising. And Monster Hunter, Larry Correia. That series is still rolling on. I don't know how many of these books there are, but there are a lot. Timothy Zahn of Star Wars fame. He is, I think this Icarus here, I think this is the last book in that series. I think Jonathan Cohen was saying that he was reading these and he's really, really enjoying them. I don't doubt it. For me with Timothy Zahn, all I've read is just his Star Wars stuff, but I've been very, very happy with that. I'm sure stepping outside that world, he's probably quite a good author as well. So again, drop down below, guys, if you want the links to any of these. This is Light Locked. This is by A.K. Chandler. Try to line it up with my face here. It's pretty creepy, right? Can't get creepier than this, but you can try. The Lumen Caligo. This is by Lawrence C. Cobb. I don't know if Fallen is the name of the series or what that is there. Ed McDonald. This is Witch Queen of Redwinter. I think this is book 3 in that trilogy. Never read Ed McDonald. I had the Raven series for the longest time. It's never quite cracked into my read here, but I want to thank Tor for sending that over. And then obviously, guys, I've talked about this. I know people get mad every time I show it, but I'm still very, very thankful that Tor did have me on their list to send a physical version of this because this was my most anticipated book of next year, and I'm very excited to have read it, and you guys will not be let down when you do get to read it. It is very, very good. And from the Broken Binding, book 2 in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series by Tad Williams. This is Stone of Farewell. Another great, great addition. And these replacing those shoddy old paperbacks of mine has just been amazing because I think this series is just incredible. Green Angel Tower is going to be split into 2, as it would have to be because it's just so monstrous. But again, I know every single month I tell you guys what incredible work they do, and they don't have misses, and I just don't think they can be understated because they just do such amazing work consistently. It's just so beautiful, man. Look at that. Wow. And the thing is, it's like if you know these scenes from the story, they mean even more. Such great stuff. So, Broken Binding, if you guys want to get on their mailing list, jump on now. Get on their waiting list because it is quite long, but it's only getting longer. So if you guys are interested in joining Broken Binding, I have the link in the description below. If you want to join their sub-service, I definitely think it is worth it. Let's end this by talking about some things I did get from some viewers. This first one showed up without a name. I'm sorry that it is because I don't know how to say thank you for this such a cute little book. It's Philip K. Dick. This is How to Build a Universe That Doesn't Fall Apart 2 Days Later. I have no idea why it's so tiny. Almost looks like a little OC Bible or something, but I've never heard of the story. I've never read Philip K. Dick. There's my embarrassing admission here. I've never always said, every year I say I'm going to read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I never have. Very interested in Man in the High Castle. But this is super cute. So I don't know who sent this. So drop in the comments. Let me know if it was you so I can give you a proper thank you. But very, very cool. And I do want to read some Philip K. Dick, more so than just for the dick jokes. But, those will have to come in time, I do think. Ronald Malfi's Black Mouth. This was sent by one of my patrons, Doug. And he said that Ronald Malfi is 3 for 3 for him so far. And I read Come With Me and loved that. So I'd be interested to see what this, which is supposed to be very much Malfi's hat tip to Stephen King's It, which is my favorite Stephen King book ever. And to me, like I've said, I've had plenty of people to tell me certain books are like that, and I get into it and I don't feel that. Reading the description for this one, it really does sound like it. So I think this will be probably the second horror, because I have a Grady Hendrix release in January that I need to read, and that's going to be a new book. So this will probably be the second horror book that I read in 2025, but I am very, very much, this is definitely one of my most anticipated books next year, because, again, you're talking about my favorite Stephen King story ever, and a new author that I really like, and that's a formula that I do dig. I'm thinking I'm going to like this quite a bit, especially if it's so highly recommended by Doug. And we're pretty locked up in a lot of things that we read, so I'm excited about this. So thank you, Doug. That's really awesome. This next one's from Steven, who said that I've actually helped fill several of his bookcases in his library, and I'm happy to spend your money, Steven. But the fact that you spent some of your money to send me something, again, thank you so much. This is some Robert E. Howard, volume 2 of some of his collections here that are not Conan. So awesome stuff. I have volume 1, so this is volume 2, completing that. And I think there is a volume 3. I'm not sure yet. But I've never read Robert E. Howard outside of Conan, and I probably should, because I've heard some of his other stuff is just awesome. I've always wanted to read Cole. I've always wanted to read Solomon Kane, things like that. So some Robert E. Howard should be something I have in my future, without a doubt, because he did make my list of top 10 authors of all time, and that's just with me reading only Conan. So who knows? Who knows what else there is out there? But this looks like it's got some pirate stuff in there, and I bet he makes it just awesome. So Robert E. Howard, one of the all-time greats. Did get my monthly card from Judy, my pen pal in Cali. Thank you so much, Judy. I hope that you enjoy Dragonbone Chair. I talked about Mary, Sorrow, and Thorn earlier. Incredible series, guys. If you still haven't picked up Mary, Sorrow, and Thorn, I hope that you will. And thank you so much, Judy. I always appreciate a good handwritten letter. It never, ever gets old. As is talking about these wonderful things that I get sent and saying thank you for sending them over. It means so much more than I can actually say on video, but I do give it my best college try. So guys, what did you add to the home library in the month of November? I would love to know. Do you have any reluctant purchases out there that you buy some authors that maybe you just don't like personally, and sometimes just like, hey, you gotta do it to complete the collection? These are the problems that collectors do have. So drop in the comments, guys, and let me know, and I will talk to you there.